Welcome to the Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Do you want to step up your game? Pursue your dreams. Be the best version of yourself. The Reinvented Life is here to help. The Reinvented Life is about courage. It's about staying relevant. It takes grit. It defies gravity. It's about taking inventory of where you are today and where you want to go. Embrace change. Make things possible and reinvent your life. Call in with questions at 888-994-4995. Now, it's time to reinvent your life with Pamela Chanel.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Reinvented Life. So hard to believe that we are almost at the end of August. Where is time going? Today on the Reinvented Life, we're really going to talk about where people are right now, how to find success. And I'm going to do that with two of the most successful people I know. So proud to be aligned with the founders and the hosts and the brilliant minds of Don and Freddie from the Brooklyn Cafe and Amp2 Media. Welcome to the Reinvented Life. Welcome to this wonderful collaboration that we continue on this journey together and start to talk about where are we going in this next part of the year. So love bringing you on to the Reinvented Life. It is so much fun to be with you.
Morning.
Good morning.
How is everything going for you?
Oh, it's great. You know, I was just saying, I can't believe we're almost at the end of August.
I know.
I don't know about you, but time is just flying. And I've been having so many conversations this week with people specifically about heading into fall. You know, it's back to school for a lot of people, a lot of parents, a lot of college students. People are really can't believe, are really kind of in shock of, are we back to school time already? So here we are.
It's hard to believe we're back to school. We've been talking so much about getting through summer, and I'm glad we went through it, but I'm glad we're on the other side of it as well, because summer's not easy in business. And then everyone says, well, now we're getting ready for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But between now and then, we've got the fourth quarter of the year to really excel in business and to build up brand awareness and to really, you talked about the psychology of success.
That's right. And you know, the summer allows you to make some mistakes, try new things, ramp it up, get it going. And I'm excited because the next section, the final quarter of the year is here. And we are pushing in about 27 different directions. And by different, it's reinventing yourself to make it count. And I love in the direction that we're going. I love what we're putting out. The challenge is on the table. And the year is flying by. It is flying by. But knowing you, the inspiration you've given us, we've decided that we are going to get into the concert business. We're going to get into the coverage business. We're going to get into different shows. And it's exciting. We had meetings all day yesterday. It's exciting. You may see us doing traveling to San Francisco to cover some events out there as well. In the 18, 19 years that I've done this, it's always been a bucket list, and the conversations weren't even had. But now, the conversations is past having them, is about doing them and doing them the best that we possibly can. So I'm excited.
Awesome. You know, that's what I'm excited about. You know, we're on the dawn here of really the Reinvented Life Center in San Francisco. When you combine that with all the work you're doing of bringing concerts, bringing music, bringing broadcasts to this, that's really what it's all about. And people, you talk about the fourth, you know, heading right into the fourth quarter of the year now. It's actually the biggest time of opportunity for people, because people that are willing to step out at this time of year and say, the year's not over. There's a lot of business to do, there's a lot of creativity to be put in place. And the back to school time is actually a wonderful time of renewal for people. And so that is kind of become the theme of business right now for people. And the psychology, as you said, Freddie, of success in business is all about what can I do to anchor myself in not only what I've been doing, but what I want to do. So the willingness to shift gears, the willingness to be one of the people that don't just think of the fourth year or the fourth quarter of the year as a holiday, but a willingness to look at their business, explore what's going on in their business, make the necessary shifts is where the excitement is actually right now. And that's what you guys are doing. You're really looking at, in addition to all of the beautiful things you've created, how can we elevate that? How can we level up the frequency, if you will, of our business? And that's the psychology of it. That is the belief in maybe things we haven't done yet, but we can suddenly have a platform to make them happen fast.
I think that she hit it right on the head. But the to have the courage to try something new. A lot of people. I mean, we do so many other productions for people, and sometimes you can see in their eye the fear about trying different things, either that they haven't tried or to expand or things of that nature. But to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to do it, because number one, we have a fantastic, fantastic crew. I got to tell you, I'll put them up against anybody, and they're not afraid either. And they are a reflection of what we want to get accomplished. All we have to do is say go.
But you know what I think I'm finding? It's trust. People don't trust other people in business. They trust themselves. They'd rather do it alone. But you can't expand to where you want to expand in business being an island and doing it alone. So at some point, there has to be an essence of trust that someone else in business will work with you and help grow together, right? Two minds or four minds can be greater than one, even just with manpower alone. I think maybe you can talk to that point as well, Chanel, on the trust.
Yeah. And so when you have this issue, which talk about nail on the head, that is hitting the nail on the head right now for people, is with all the chaos going on, where do they turn and who do they collaborate with are the number one and two questions that people have in their mind. And so the establishment of this trust on that you speak of is crucial. It's actually the centerpiece of the work we do. We have 90-day business programs at the Reinvented Life. And 90-day is not arbitrary. It's actually by design, because we know in 21 to 30 days, any business or any person can establish a habit. And then it's the repetitiveness of that habit over the 2 or 3 times, so roughly 90 days, that can cement anything that someone wants to do as a success step. So that's how we approach it. And starting to build that trust is the number one place that we start with our clients. I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs. Maybe they've been in corporate America for years. They've gone on their own, they're passionate about what they're doing, they're excited about their business, but they realize that all the support and all the services aren't there that they had in their corporate role. So where do they go? Who do they trust? How do they establish the habit of the new ways of doing business? So this 90-day sort of outlook for things, which is just where we're at now through the end of the year, these next 90 days are pivotal for people that want to embrace something, and the trust issue, as you say, is at the core. So, how does one establish trust? The first thing that they need to do, and this is part of what we do initially with every client that comes on board for this first couple of weeks, is establish where they are in trusting themselves first. One cannot go in business or in life where they have not been. So the trust starts with, are they trusting of themselves? Are they trusting of what they are doing, who they are being, and where they are going? That exploration is the foundational work of trusting and collaborating with others. I think what I explain in my coaching work, whether it's business or in life, is the notion of, if it's meant to be, it's up to me, which is a very common notion that people take on, is very limiting and can be very debilitating in terms of business. What it really should be is, do I have the confidence, the trust in myself? And then who am I collaborating with that has expertise in whatever area that I want to create? So trust begins with trusting oneself. And if there is something that's in the way of that, we discover that, we acknowledge it, we work with it, but work with it in such a way that we're looking forward and ahead with it. I hope that makes sense.
Right now, we're looking into music venues and concert venues. We can't do this alone, right? We need we need the talent, we need the promoter, you need the music producer. So everyone works together. Is it better just to be up front and say, we're in this together, let's trust each other to grow this, versus separately, because the whole is truly better than the sum of the parts?
Absolutely. And I think even prior to that, you establish your own trust in yourself. So the two of you, as I've worked with so closely, you have absolute, without a shadow of a doubt, confidence and trust in yourself. Now it becomes having the conversation with potential alliances and collaborators in business, joint venture partners, whatever the case may be, and what people are doing, is have a very open conversation right out of the gate about this notion of trust. And I think that is the foundational piece of working together. Having that conversation, it's a hard subject for a lot of people to broach, but having an openness from the beginning. Hey, do you trust that working together is going to serve you better? Do you value working with others? If you get that out of the way with potential, in your case, promoters and venues and event producers, people that you are going to be collaborating with, now you've opened the door for the work. It's almost like you've brought the canvas in and you can start to paint and you can start to create. But I think too many people wait to have that kind of conversation if something isn't working. And I think the transformation and the reinvention that has to happen today is that people need to believe that it's going to work, have the belief in the possibility, and then work out the details of how that partnership can be a benefit to both. It isn't like it has been old school wise, start an adventure, create everything that needs to be done. If something falls short on either end, then visit it if it's only a problem. It's taking a proactive versus a reactive approach. Everything today, every success in business today, every personal reinvention today is based on this proactive approach versus reactive approach.
That's interesting. And I'm always amazed when we do a show with you and I watch Freddie and his reaction. And his comments, he's like, yeah, that's true. And he's shaking his head. Yeah, that's exactly true. Does this resonate with you
Oh,
as to something?
absolutely, absolutely. Because when you put a new concept out, something that, and I said this to JC the singer yesterday. I says you sing every single day. That's what you do for your job. That's what you do. That's your career. Us capturing it, putting it in different places, and everything else. There's always the big fear that it's not going to work out. But I stopped listening to the word fear. I'm done with it. Because you know something? Fear is plentiful. You don't need me to add more fear to an equation. It doesn't exist. My job is to make it positive, to make it in the softest tone that you can make it. Let's go get it. Make the adjustments as you go along. And you know what? I wasn't born this way doing. I learned it. And what I like about the words that I'm hearing from you is you got to get up and you got to go get it. Because it ain't going to get you, it's not going to give you what you want. You got to go get what you want. So I love what she says. I love it. I have ideas that I'm getting from her today that I would like to incorporate her more on the cafe. I think that'll be important to get an East Coast, West Coast thought going. I think that we have to do more. I don't think we do enough. I see how CBS and ABC and these guys they've been around for hundreds, if less years, but 100 years, doing it the right way, consistently the right way.
Yeah, but business has changed. And business, I always think of Joanna.
They have
Business has
changed, yeah.
changed, and it has changed again post COVID, and it's changed again because of what's going on in the media. And I think that's what precipitates all of this non trust in other people and businesses. But we have to really overcome that and do what Chanel says and be proactive.
Well, you also got to remember that trust is a two-way street.
Sure.
So I always tell people, I want to earn your trust.
Yeah.
But the thing is that when I earn your trust, don't do a backstroke on me and become more difficult to work with in the next project. Now, we've have people who have, at the beginning, says, okay, show me. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time to be able to get to the point where they say, okay, now I trust you.
So, Chanel, are you finding this with your clients as well?
100%. So I think a couple of things to respond to what you were saying. Fear, and I'm glad you brought that up, Freddie, is the number one detriment to business. But if you think of fear, and I always use this acronym, false evidence appearing real. And the word appearing is really the important part. Sometimes fear, it's actually false evidence, but it feels so real and it appears so real that people aren't used to even asking the questions, is this really true? Or is this just a natural default to what I fall into? So, this idea in any collaboration you're going to do to get that all on the table up front. And time frame is the second part. Don, all of the clients that are struggling right now with expanding their business or getting more customers or expanding an idea or expanding locations or anything that would keep one from looking at their business in a positive way generally has to do with timing and the expectation of people looking at things on a 1 year, 2 year, 5 year basis. As you mentioned, business has changed. And so the wins need to be looked at a lot more rapidly. We need this evidence instead of false evidence appearing real on the fear side of it. We need the evidence that things are working. And so if you go into something as an example in 90-day increments, you can get measurable results. Now that measurable results may that you complete a plan, or that measurable result may be that you acquire X amount of new business or X amount of increase in your ROI. But you plan it accordingly to 90 days. So it isn't something that takes on such a long life that in the meantime, so much has changed that it doesn't feel real anymore.
I
That's where
like the
fear
90-day
comes from.
increments. So do you propose suggesting in a business proposition, let's look at this for 90 days and let's make the adjustment. You know, it's funny, when I met you, I was working at this other job and I had given it 90 days. And I met you, and my whole 90-day plan at that point in time 8 years ago changed.
Why did it change?
Because I met you, and I was working retail and I was being a health coach and I was giving it 90 days. And I met you, and here we are eight
Oh, I
years
see what
later,
you're saying. I
right?
see what you're
So
saying.
in my mind, I had given it 90 days, but God decided I was going in another direction.
You know, it's funny. Today we had a meeting this morning, a real quick meeting with a brand new
Marketing, business.
business gentleman that came in to work with us. And we were going over the numbers of what the cafe has done in the last 90 days. And I didn't realize on the different platforms that we do, the amount of numbers that we are generating, whether it's Roku, whether it's YouTube, which is the one Dawn found today, was tremendous. Facebook, all of these 90 days, because we ask people to trust in us for 90 days to get their projects going. And you can't say that unless you can back it up with numbers. I'm going to send them to you because I am so shocked. When I tell you shocked, I'm shocked. I cannot believe the numbers that we are generating. And it's not like we get up in the morning, set out to show these numbers off, but they're there. And you cannot deny them that they're there.
But having Chanel here just makes it that much more business oriented. So it's not, oh, it's sitting up and sharing ideas. What we do is truly to amplify business and make an impact. And what Chanel does is to help really break that down then and strategize where your business is today, where you want it in 90 days, where you want it in 5 years, and to break that down. And that's why I love what you do, is because in our creative space, our creative minds are, oh, let's create the show. Let's do this commercial. Let's put it here, and let's do this, and let's do a marketing plan, and let's go out and meet the neighborhood. But then people want to know, what do the numbers look like? What does that cost me? What is my ROI? And that's where Chanel comes in with the business mind of what we do.
I like that. And I would like to bring
Well,
Chanel into what we do. I like to bring you more on the set so we can talk the business aspect, like a coast to coast
So
idea.
look at this eye today. Together, everyone achieves more.
Because I think it's time. It's time to grow our presence. I think it's been, the numbers are in place, the crew is in place. I think it's time to take advantage of some of the words that you're saying, actually.
and this 90-day concept is so important. I have gone in my own business from session by session contracts with people to annual contracts with people, and have really reeled that all back and concentrate on 90-day contracts with individuals and businesses for this very reason. And when you think about it, there's a natural synergy that goes on if you think about our businesses just like we think about our life in seasons. So seasons are 90 days. It's not just about winter, spring, summer, and fall that have a 90-day duration. We can look at, and that's why the successful nature of the business comes with these 90-day contracts. And inevitably, we then take and extend that and work another 90 days on something else. Why? Because there's been a return on that investment. And that's what I can't emphasize enough. We need to look at our lives and our businesses in the same way that we look at the natural cycle, the natural waves of nature. If we think about how there's ebbs and there's flows, but at the end of the day, we know, even if it's subconsciously, that the next season is ahead of us. We can concentrate on the one we're in. And that is the key to this. That is the key to the success today, is tighten the expectations so that there isn't, Freddie, to what you say, is an expectation that's so big that you feel as if, all your efforts fall short. It's the opposite. It's let's supercharge this. Let's actually, to your words, exactly what your company's name is, amplify this. When you think of amplification, that's exactly what you are and who you are and what you're bringing to the world. So you amplify it each season a little bit differently. One season may be concentrated on the planning portion, and then there's success in 90 days with how those plans have been put in place. Some seasons are about the doing, some seasons are about the being or the feeling of, am I in the right direction? Have I aligned with not only the right businesses, but people that share the same vision and mission? So we get very deep, very, very quickly with businesses, looking at what their mission is. What are their objectives? What is it that they want to create? Is it still relevant? Is something that was created 3 years ago in terms of a mission statement, in terms of a philosophy, relevant today? This is the way that with all the chaos going on, all the polarization going on that's taking place, you can hone this back in and you can feel real success again. Because this is, and Don, you asked the best question, is this what is going on with my clients? And it's across the board, yes. People have lost sight of how to create, determine first, but then create the win, the success.
So,
And
Chanel,
so
before we wrap this up, because I can't believe we're out of time already, I want to bring you in one day next week on the cafe. I know, or I know next week you're doing an hour to really hone in on what the fourth quarter should look like for business, for solopreneurs, for doing this together, for what are we aiming for in the next 90 days generally. And I think that would be a great Reinvented Life show or segment.
Well, there's some people also that I want to bring on the show that are thinking of doing some work with us, some shows and things of that nature. And I think that it's important for them to see and hear what you're saying because you've been with us forever. And the object of the game here is that I think it's time that we start spreading this peanut butter around a little bit more so people can get the feel and understand the concept. Psychology of success has to start with them. They have to understand that next level.
And I think a great way to do it would be a classic panel. You know, people from different industries, different forms of business come together in a panel. We have a Q&A, and people want to be able to see themselves and their businesses in others. Once one sees that something can be done, it is a lot easier for them to take something on because it removes the mystery of it. So I really think, Don, your point, and I know we're wrapping up here, is let's take the mystery out of fourth quarter.
Good idea.
Let's take the mystery out of how do we take on a season that's typically just thought of as, throw our hands up, it's all about the holidays now. And maximize that. Maximize on the gatherings people are going to be having. Maximize on the fact that there's more collaboration, more synergy, more bringing together in the fourth quarter than in any other time of the year.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you to the listeners and the viewers and everyone who is involved in reinventing their lives and business. This is the heartthrob of how we take it back in, take the reins, and establish success for people. Have a great week. I cannot wait till next week and what we're going to create.
Thank you for tuning in to The Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Tune in each week so we can work and grow together to become the best version of ourselves. Keep striving, keep dreaming, keep working, and embrace change. You may contact Pamela Chanel at info@thereinventedlife.com.